Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Real Chat Podcast. Today, I'm joined for a real chat with my man Skyler Ray. Like this dude is a phenomenal dude. I mean, the resume is crazy. It's a lot, so I'm not even gonna jump into it and try to break it all down for you. I'm gonna hit you with a little couple key points, though. I see my man. You from San Jose. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Yep.
California originally. Okay, cool,
Mhm.
cool. Because I got my lady. She got family out there.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I was born in San
yeah.
Jose, and then lived in Portland most of my life. So,
Okay. So Portland. How long you been in Portland?
uh, probably a little bit before I was 10, and then basically since like 13 years old, 34 now. So at least a few decades. That's for
Okay.
sure.
Okay, definitely. So I
Absolutely.
see, man, you got a hip hop label. You know what I'm saying? Doorway Entertainment. A lot of adventures as far as in the hip hop game.
Yeah.
My man does all these shows, goes around. Can you tell us a little bit about that, man? Well, let's break in first, man. Tell me a little bit about who Skyler Ray is. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Where'd you
So,
start and where you at?
okay, I got you. So my name is Skyler Ray. I'm a national touring artist in long-term recovery. And I dealt with the foster care system. I dealt with homelessness, addiction, jails, prisons, everything that comes along with addiction, right? But I dealt with that. But hip hop has always been a thing for me. I've known I want to do music since I was 9 years old. Been doing music since 11. Like I said, I'm 34 now. So I've got some time in it, right? To be able to master my craft. But, I spent quite a bit of time, most of my 20s. I was either homeless, shooting dope up, or sleeping on the sidewalks, in and out of jail. Sometimes I'd only be out for like 3 days. I'd do 6 months, get out for 3 days, go back, do 9 months, get out for 6 days, go back and do 9 more months. Basically, as long as it took for the warrant to go out, right? But since getting out of prison this last time, I got out 2 days after my 28th birthday. Um, I really stayed focused. I got out. I had vision boards all around the house. I was really dialed in because the whole time when I was sitting in this last time in prison, I was focused and I was trying to prep myself from the moment that I leave the gates, right? Because when you're in prison and you are on standstill, basically the whole world moves without you and you stuck in the
Right.
middle, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I stayed focused, and when I got out, I've been attacking it, man. I visualized, and now I'm attacking. I've been able to tour the country, travel all around the world, see all types of stuff, right? But I've been able to do it while chasing my dreams. I've been a full-time music artist for the last 4 years. Doorway Entertainment is my label and my business that I operate out of. It's my LLC. And the reason for that is because it's basically a homage to all the people that passed away to drug addiction. During my addiction, I wasn't in like a trap house. I wasn't hiding out in some like apartment or anything like that. I was really on the front line, you know, downtown Portland, Oregon, sleeping on the sidewalks, underneath the bridge, in the food line, using the public showers, things like that. That was, a lot of my addiction. So it's homage to them for all the people that in the doorways that talked about when they get clean or sober, or when you get high, you talk about all the dreams and all the shit you're gonna do, right?
Right.
So that's what it pays to, right? It's also a reminder to never forget where I come from, right? And to remember that I am an addict and I did get this not second chance. They call it a second chance, but it's really like my third or fourth chance.
Right.
Um, so it's that, but also I used to always rap in the doorways. So you know what
Okay.
I'm saying? So it always takes me back. Remember where you came from. Remember who never made it sober, who never got that chance. Because a lot of people's clean dates, they finally get that clean date, but a lot of times it's on their tombstone.
Right. Yeah, you live in
You
you
know?
live in you live in that life, man. You know what I'm saying, for them, and
Absolutely.
that's nice that the way that you put that and structure that, man. Paying homage to the ones that didn't make it through, because
Absolutely.
they had dreams too. And I think we talked a little bit about this. So I had the opportunity, everybody, to be on a panel with my man Skyler and a couple other dope gentlemen. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And the conversation was great, but one thing that we talked about was the fact that we all think we got more time.
We
So
do.
I
We all
love, man, that you out here just grinding, bro. Like you just going at it
Yeah,
and getting it. So, because all them
absolutely.
other brothers, man, they had dreams too. They woke up and was like, like you said, you sit around getting high, you like, yeah, man, I'm gonna get into this music and I'm gonna make it pop off, and then 2 days later they overdose. You know what I
They
mean?
overdose, and that's the thing. So it's important, man, to always remember that. So every check that I get from centers, it's always, to my name or Doorway Entertainment. All the invoices, the business, the bank accounts, everything is Doorway Entertainment. Just because, like, I always want to remember how lucky I am to make it this far, and I got to keep going for those who don't have a voice no more. So
Right,
that's
right,
what it is, man. It's inspiring every time I see it, just to know that, me and my lady, we started it. Like, we have no, it's not technically a label, but I always put that, you know what I'm saying?
right.
But it's us, we're independent, we grind, we don't have the machines behind us. We're the ones that's got to try to figure everything out, to try to break the algorithms, to try to get the movement going. We do everything, man. From we write our own songs, we perform our own lyrics. On top of that, all the mixing and sound engineering, producing, like a lot of that, always comes from us. She does all the product, the designs. I always tell her, you make a
Nice,
design or you make a product, you put it on the table. I'm gonna go out there and sell it and put money back on the table. And that's the way we operated. Like, we're
man. I
very
love
much
that.
yin and yang, bro.
Yeah,
So
bro. That's how it's gotta be. You know what I'm saying? I
gotta
mean,
be,
because
gotta
the
be.
the one the one that like me and my lady, man, I love that, bro. All I can say is because like me and my lady, we grind the same way, man. She's an RN. She put in 16 hours. We ain't on the same level as far as podcasting and stuff like
Yeah,
that. But we support each other in everything we do. Whatever she want to do, she got the business degree. You know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
So, and I got a little bit of business knowledge. But when we put it all together, that's how we make things shake. You know what I'm
You
saying? Like we
gotta,
put food
you
on the
gotta.
table. I put food on the table, and we gonna
Yep,
continue to do this for our household. So man, I
absolutely.
love that. That's
It's
dope.
it's important, man, to be able to figure out somebody who compliments you. Like, it's so crazy because we have enough thing in common, that it works, right? And we strive and we continue to build our relationship. But we have so many differences that we are able to complement each other. The things that I'm not good at, don't like, or ultimately don't have patience for. Because I don't have a lot of patience for learning curves or trying to figure things out. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
Our
Getting frustrated,
programs, our
you know.
video editing, because she does all of our videos, right? And so it's like we have that, and then we have, you know, uh it's just like, and then she don't like really being out there and booking everything. Like, I book all of our shows, I do all the social media, because that's what I'm good at. I'm good at talking, I'm good at getting in there, negotiating
Right.
deals, and presenting our worth. And so it's like, it's really awesome that, like, we both don't just have the same skills, and we
Uh-huh.
need someone else to cover some other bases. Like, it's literally what I'm not good at, she's good at, and vice versa.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, and
it's excellent.
that's how you make it shake, man. Like, my lady, we go back, 20 plus years. And we
Okay,
actually dated 20 years ago, and
that's
through
fly.
my addiction it wasn't going to work. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like we didn't have any breaks. So something bad was going to happen. So we just kind of had to separate and split ways, man, and I got married, and she didn't support me in anything that I did. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, oh, you gotta work a 9 to 5, and if you ain't doing that and breaking your back, you ain't shit. And I was like, yo. So now
That's
circle back,
crazy.
to 2025. Me and my lady, you know what I'm saying? We back together. We done bought a house. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? Now we out here just grinding and making these dreams happen. So
that's
that's
important.
something I can definitely respect and appreciate, man. Because if you don't have that support of
Yeah.
somebody behind you, bro, it's all talk. You know what I
It's
mean?
and that's
Let's
the
do
thing
this.
too,
Let's do
is,
this.
people underestimate, like, how much power and inspiration comes when your other half is telling you to go get it, and telling you to take that chance and make that leap even though you're afraid to. And so it's like, I finally found somebody as crazy as I am, because I've dated somebody else before, and it was like I was getting ready to invest, like, in this future, or go do this different thing, or a music video, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm about to do this." And she's like, "I thought we getting the couch this weekend." And I'm like, "Well, there goes my money." Like, you
Right.
know what
Like,
I'm
yeah.
saying?
So
Like,
now I
"How
gotta
much
do
you need?"
this.
She's like, "Oh, I have the 600s, you got the other 6." And I'm just like, "Yeah, I'll make it work." You know what I'm
Yep,
saying?
yep. Because now,
Or
yeah, now you putting things on hold,
and now you
and
putting your dreams on hold, or like, I've done something and then I go to talk about what I'm gonna do next, and they're like, "Well, I thought we saving for this. Like, do you really need to be able to, like, do that again?" And it's like, well, come on.
man,
This is
I
who I
love
am,
it.
and this is like where my heart's at. Like, so like my
It's
lady now, we complement each other because she's just as crazy as I am. And I'm
sound like
like,
she
I
ready
want
to
to do
pull that
this.
trigger all the time, just like bang,
Yeah.
bang, bang. Let's pull the
And
trigger.
she's
You know what
like,
I'm
do
saying? You
it.
want to do it? Let's go. I
Yeah.
love that. That's
And that's
what's
the
up,
cool
man.
thing about it, man. Because there's sometimes I want to do this. She's like, what's it cost or whatever? And I'm like, oh, it's this. And she's like, do it. And I'm like, well, wait. I was like, I don't know if we got money. She's like, we'll figure it out. And I'm like, all right, let's do
I love that.
it. you
I
know?
love that. Yeah, because you know what, y'all a team. You a unit.
Yeah,
You moving together, and that's how you gonna make it happen. You know, because the best person you can collab with is the person that's next to you all the time. You know what I mean?
that's
And
the
that
thing,
believes
bro.
in you.
It's so beautiful. Like when I was younger and wanted to be Eminem, she was younger with a hairbrush singing in front of the mirror trying to be Mariah Carey. You know
There you
what I'm
go.
saying? So
Yeah, you know what I'm
here
saying.
we are. We
Yeah.
just older now.
There you go. That's right. You know, making your own moves. So, man,
Claro.
what's up, man? So so you doing that? You got your own podcast as well, right? Or you got
Uh,
multiple outlets of what you're
absolutely.
doing, but you got the what
We
is it?
got the music and mayhem. So that's the only one that like I do on a regular basis. I pop on other people's lives and things like that for interviews. Um,
hmm
but me and my guy Manny Vitel, we have music and mayhem, and that is Wednesday, 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. It's live on our Facebooks, YouTube, all the social medias and things like that. We recently just started like 2 months ago, so we still figuring everything out, but we've been able to move and groove and continue to adapt. So it's coming together, man.
Man, it is because I've been watching it. I've been checking it out. I'm
Thank you.
still waiting to get Manny on an episode. You know what I
Let's
mean?
go.
You know, like we finna do that very soon. I don't even remember how I came across them or how we even linked up. I think it
Yeah,
could have been through Matt, but I'm not sure. Just one day we
maybe.
were talking. Like one day we were talking and we are like, yeah, we gonna do an episode, and we
That's
don't see
dope.
it. It's
That's
coming
dope,
together.
bro.
So, but
Absolutely.
yeah, man. So tell me a little bit about music and mayhem. Like, what does that mean? What is it? What is that? What is the thought process throughout that, and
So,
how'd you come up with it?
absolutely. So Music and Mayhem, originally I did an episode of My Fight or War with him. He told me to jump on like 30 minutes early. And I was like, okay, I'll jump on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because like I'm already so busy. I'm like, damn, I gotta do this podcast. I gotta do this interview. You know what I'm saying? And it's
Right.
like I always agree to stuff, and then when time comes, I'm like, I'm so busy. You
Hey,
know
you
what
want
I'm
to push
saying?
it back, bro? I ain't gonna lie, I felt
Oh,
like that today. Like, hey man, can we do this 15 minutes later? And then I'm like,
yeah.
nah, man, let's go ahead, let's get it over
I
with.
appreciate you. I appreciate you. And
For
so like
sure.
we hopped on, man, and we were vibing. And it's funny because uh OG was sitting there and she was like, hey guys, it's 4:07, we're late. And I was like, oh, time's been flying, right? And so we do our episode. I think we chopped it up for like an hour and a half. And then we talk for like 30, 40 minutes afterwards. Which is very unusual for me. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Okay.
And he was like, hey, what do you think about doing a podcast together? And of course, I'm like hyped. I'm in a good mood. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And then like the next day, like I was telling my lady about it, and she's like, I thought you don't like going live. And I was like, I don't. I'm like, this is awful. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause you in the mood, you know? And
Right,
I'm like,
right.
all right. So look, so we start doing it. And then I really been getting into it. I really been getting into it. Even since you've seen since the last live, I went and bought me a 4K cam. Just been kind of stepping up production, made our little intro video. We even got like spin wheels for topics. We're gonna be doing all types of
Nice.
crazy stuff. But Music and Mayhem stands for hold on one second. So that's my dog. So look,
Nice. Yeah.
music and mayhem stands for like obviously I do music, so that's the music portion of it, right?
hmm
I'll be inviting sometimes some friends on, some guests. We just had Kalichi, Matt Keegan. I know Benjamin Lerner is gonna be doing something. My buddy King Handsome, so like
Okay.
that's like the music portion since that's like who I am and that's my life.
Right.
But the mayhem kind of is like more him. Although addiction does bring mayhem, right?
hmm
Because not only once we get sober, we still have some character defects that become shortcomings. And so
Right.
with that, he's lived a crazy life. Like he used to be a Detroit police officer. And then he became, joined the 1%er biker club. So
Right.
like he's done some crazy stuff. Like he's been shot in the face, he's been stabbed in the face, he's been shot multiple times, stabbed, all these things.
Yeah,
Like,
he's got a
you
crazy,
know,
he got a crazy,
he
insane
got a
story, and
crazy
I
story,
can't wait to hear it. You know what I'm saying? It's full.
Yeah. So it's like that's kind of where it comes from. So it's like both of us, like our personalities, our interest points. And that's why I say he's more mayhem. And
Right.
then like, I'm the music portion. So that's how it kind of came. That's what we are doing. Like I said, 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. You can find me on my Skyler Ray page, YouTube, or Manny Vitel. Make sure you guys go check that out.
Yeah, because hey, even when he does his lives, and then being out of Detroit, man, he comes from a musical town. You know what I'm
Detroit,
saying? So
yeah,
so the vibe just goes together great. And like you said, man, you can start chopping it up and talking and go on for hours, man, because
absolutely.
when Matt asked me to come on that live with you last week, I
Mhm.
got on there and I'm like, okay, cool, I'm gonna jump in here, get this over with, man. I think we was on for like an hour and a half.
We
It was
were.
like
All of
over
our
it was
ladies were
over.
hungry.
Yeah. They're like, yo, we finna eat, it's dinner time. And it's like, yeah, just hold on one more second. You know what I'm saying?
Yep,
Give me a minute, but
absolutely.
when you get that little side eye, you know what I'm saying? Like it's time now. It's like, yo, brothers, I gotta go. And
I
you know
know my
what?
lady was texting me. She's like, Panda Express. I'm like, yeah. She's like, when? I'm like, I don't know. She's like, we going or what? I'm like, yeah. Give me a second. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, gotta make it happen, So, but yeah,
absolutely.
man. So living in San Jose, like when did you get? So you got out of San Jose after foster care and stuff like that. So like you are a thoroughbred from getting it out of the mud. You know what I'm saying? Like you definitely have lived
Takes some
experiences,
work.
to be able to share and tell people, about your story. We talk about recidivism, because we both come from an area where it was in and out, in and out, in and out,
Absolutely.
and I want to salute you, brother, because you definitely changed it around a little sooner than I did. You know what I mean?
Thank you,
I'm
man.
I'm I'm getting up there, and uh, it took me a long time, and I always tell my kids this. You think you're a man, because you're of age, you know, and you don't realize, what being a man or a real woman is until you have to start living with those responsibilities.
Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit, man. How did you shift and where did you transition? You know what I'm saying, into the life you wanted to live after you got clean. Because you
Um,
did spend time in
honestly,
prison. So
yeah. Honestly, I would say probably prison, man. I've had a lot of chance to reflect. I probably did about 5 years total, but I would say this prison time last time was 2 years. I was sentenced to 2 years, and it gave me enough time uh for my cognitive thinking to repair. It gave me enough time to be able to sit on my actions and understand the way I've acted, the way I've treated people, the way I've dealt with situations, and made me really just realize that's not how I want to live life or how I want to be remembered. And
mhm,
so I would say, I didn't become a man till I was probably 30 years old. You know what I'm saying? And I always say that, like, when I got out of prison at 28 years old, I was still a baby because I was reborn, like new thinking.
right,
But I think it really just stems back to, I had to realize, like, hey, this is who I want to be. This is who I am at heart, and this is the direction that I want to go. Like I said, I visualized so much. Like all I was doing was prepping. Um, and thinking about that moment when I get out and understanding that these are my goals, these are my dreams, and that nothing else matters, and that like I'm not gonna let nothing get in my way. And I do think that has helped propelled me for success and been able to change the outline and the projection of my life. So
definitely, definitely, man. I can appreciate that because I've been to prison multiple times, and when you get a chance to sit down and really become clear headed, like you said, gather your thoughts and really think about the time where you think about the damage that you've done, you
absolutely.
know, and
I
that's
sat with
that's
it. I
learning
sat with it for
compassion.
years sober. And I was like, damn, I was an asshole a lot. I was a bully. Um, I really dug deeper into the step work I did at the beginning because I tried recovery before and I failed. But I did step work one of my first treatment center I was at, and I realized that a lot of stuff stems back to my abandonment issues. So I got a chance to realize that that has affected me every place in my life, from the need to want to be loved, to be desired, to feel part of, to show off in front of my friends, to get that validation. I had to be the strongest. I had to be the kid that would never turn down a fight, the one that was willing to do anything, the one that cracked so many jokes. It was a class clown that he became annoying. And then when people called me out on it, I had to step up to the plate and you stand on business,
Got to eat it. Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like sitting on that reflecting. I was like, I didn't like that because I really have a good heart and I like to see people win. I want to be a good person, and that's the way I've always been. When I be a good person, I feel good about myself, and so I had a chance to internalize that and really understand that, like, yo, you don't be an asshole. Like, you ain't got to be that. I looked at the way I approach relationships with women differently. Ever since I could remember, I've always been a cheater. I've always been, I've never been faithful. I've always, called my significant other, whoever I was dating, out of their name. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And calling them names or whatever. It's like when I fight and just doing all this stuff like that. And I really had a chance to realize, like, it ate me up a lot, all my past actions and what I did. And I was like, that's not how I'm trying to live life. And I understand that this is a fresh start getting out. Um, and I got a chance to be my authentic self. And also I appreciate the fact that I had time to be able to be enough for myself. I took that
Right.
time to love myself, therefore I didn't need love from other people.
And that's the biggest thing, man. When you love yourself, you can love everybody else. And when you share that love, you teach everybody else how to love themselves. You know what I'm saying? And it's
Absolutely.
just it's contagious, you know. And that's one thing that I realized throughout my journey is that it's contagious, man. Once you start doing it and you continue to do it, it gets easier. It becomes repetitive. Every day you want to get up and figure out, yo, who can I help next? How can I help? You know what I'm saying? Not
Yeah.
waking up and getting on that grind like, who can I take from? Who
Hey,
can I eat
to be
next?
honest, man, it really makes me feel good to be able to help others. Like it makes my heart swell. I feel like a good person, bro. Like it like lifts the weight off my shoulders to be able to give back.
Mhm.
And that's how I like to live life. I like to give and not take.
Right.
And I could go to sleep. I go to sleep with a clean conscience. I make mistakes, I make errors. I'm not always perfect.
Yeah.
I have a bad temper, so I don't always handle things properly.
Same.
But I can
Same.
sleep with my actions at night.
Right.
So
It's easier to swallow. You know what I mean? There's a lot of
yeah,
times I went to sleep at night and I was like, damn, man, like that really you know, if I'm trying to build a reputation, that kind of really fucked it up. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like that was kind of shitty on my part, you know, but like you said, you know, I got a quick temper and I think a lot of that comes from being sober. You know what I'm saying? When you fucked up all the time, there's a lot of things you just don't care about. You just don't it
absolutely.
ain't bothering you, you know, but now life is really sinking in and you learning, you know what I'm saying, your strength. You learning how strong you
Absolutely.
really got to be to maneuver and navigate life itself because it's hard. Like
It
it's
really is
hard
hard.
every
It
day.
is.
And when things don't go your way, it ain't working out. You know what I'm saying? Like you ain't getting enough likes. You're not getting enough followers.
Yeah.
You're not making the impact that you think or want to be making. And it's like you start to sometimes that self
It
doubt
gets
tries to
frustrating,
creep
bro.
in. Yeah.
Oh my god, it's tough, bro. Because a lot of time you do so much work and like so many hours and dedication to trying to hit deadlines, algorithm times, all these different things, and it feels like you're just pissing in the wind.
Yeah.
Eventually, I guess it doesn't feel like that.
It's
You know what I'm
exhausting, man.
saying?
It's it
It's
is.
like, what sucks is like a content creator, you put so much work into something and then you get like 20 likes, like 500 views, and you're like, that was like a day and a half of
And,
work or a day and like so much
and then
frustration. You're like, that's
some
crazy.
shit you didn't even try to really put out there, you know what I'm
And then
saying?
it
All of a
takes
sudden it
off.
just gets like 500, 800. You know what I'm saying? Like within the
Yeah.
hour, you're like, what the fuck? Like what did I do wrong on the last one and I put so much work into it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It seems like the ones you just throw up sometimes are the ones that take off. And it's
Right.
like, that's crazy because like I didn't even mean to do it like that or it just happened or like, I'm just gonna run with it and post it. And then
Right.
everybody loves it. And I'm just like, what?
Like what's going on here? I know because I'm like so because and I'm glad you said that because like being part of like these communities, so I'm learning a lot more about like online communities and
Yeah.
community building and community management stuff like that, right? So I got my homeboy Jersey City Jeff, and he's a community manager that used to do this for Shade 45.
Okay.
And so me and him talk like every day, and I'm like, yo, bro, what am I doing wrong? What do I
Yeah.
got to do different? You know, but it's like all these communities and always trying to put content out because now I wrap myself up in some
Yeah.
I ain't even gonna call it bullshit because it's really it's good and it's starting to catch momentum, but it's the 365 challenge, right?
Okay.
So every day, 30 minutes of physical activity, whether it's walking,
Is that
mowing
like the Hard
lawn.
75 or whatever?
Yeah, like so we're
Okay.
doing that. Like my dude Louis Ochoa out of he's from San Bernardino. And so he ended up starting this and it was basically something that he wanted to do to better himself. So
Yeah.
then I decided to jump online and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm supporting my man, you know, and I'm gonna do this." So now everybody's like holding me to it, like, "Yo, you didn't post anything." And I'm like, "Man, so I gotta get up every day and post something that at least says
Yeah.
I did a push-up board. I walked around the block, you know what I'm saying? I gotta do something every day." So but
Hey,
yeah,
it's only gonna make you stronger though. I mean, it will make you better, but also it will build healthy habits. So, I mean, it's worth it. It sucks in the moment, and but like it's hard to complain because I have gotten results. You know what I'm saying? Like me and my
Right.
lady, we have grown hundreds of thousands of followers, tens of millions of streams. We've been able to rock arenas. We've been able to, like I said, travel the world, tour the country.
Right.
We've been able to, off of music. So it's like,
It's worth
as
it.
much as it sucks and it's a headache and how exhausting it is, it has been paying off slowly but surely. I mean, you got to imagine I've been doing music for over 20 years,
Hmm.
you know, um, but I don't even feel like I'm nowhere near my prime, nowhere near my prime. Like I'm just figuring out how I want my voice to be like and everything like that. I just started liking my music like a year ago, year and a half ago.
Okay.
Now when I hear a verse, I'm like, damn, I really like that's
Yo.
fire. You know what I'm saying?
Now, so with your music, you go
Yeah.
by Skyler Ray.
Skyler Ray.
You know what
Skyler
I'm
Ray.
saying? See, and I love that, man, because you know what? You use your real name. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? You being your authentic self. You rap about authentic stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Things you've been through, and that's a big thing because for
It's
me,
transparency.
yeah, like I used to go by Breed. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So everybody called me Breed. And that was my nickname for my entire life. And
Okay.
it wasn't until probably about 8 years ago where I was like, "Yo, don't call me that no more.
I
I
used to
don't
go
go
by
by that
Schizo,
anymore."
so
Right.
you know
So
what I'm
and when
saying?
you can embrace your real name, like everybody when you look at like you
Yeah.
said, everything's Skylar Ray. You look at
Yep.
my social media, everything's
Yep.
Justin Jackson. Justin Jackson, so
It's authentic,
and
man. It's authentic. When I started rapping about like what I'm going through or what I'm feeling and being more vulnerable, I
mhm,
wanted to really put my heart on my sleeve with my music because it's like my
for
therapy when
sure.
I started rapping about real stuff that I've been through. And therefore, I thought there was no better way to do it than to go by Skylar Ray. That's my first and my middle name. My dad's middle name is Ray. His godfather's name was Ray.
And
So
that's how
it's
you
kind
gonna
of like
go out.
building legacy
That's
as
I
well.
mean, when you go out, like,
Yeah,
when you come to that deadline and they put that name on that tombstone, you know what I'm saying? It's not
yeah.
just gonna be your nickname. The person you
Nah,
came
nah.
in this world as and the person you go out as, that's how I look at it. That's how I want to go out.
Yeah,
I want everybody to know who Justin Jackson was. When they look at my kids growing up and they say, "Hey, I knew your father," you know what I'm saying? I
yeah.
want them to know, "Hey, I knew Justin Jackson." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Not,
I
"Oh, I
couldn't e
knew
I couldn't
Breed."
even imagine. I can't even imagine. I know your dad, Schizo. I'd be like, "What?
Right.
Hold
Like,
on,
yeah,
hold on.
these
How'd
kids.
he get that name?" You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Right. So yeah, man, they're creating a legacy, man. And
yeah.
so tell me about this tour that you got
Mhm.
coming up, that you're gonna be doing, man. Tell me a little bit about that if you wanna share that.
Of course. So it's called the Road to Recovery Tour. This upcoming year will be our 4th annual year of doing it. When it first started, we did 28 shows. Last year, 86 shows. This year, we're gonna hit the 100 mark around the country. But when it first started, man, like I was just trying to figure out, who my audience was, who would relate to my lyrics, who would relate to my
Okay.
songs, who would it help? Because I started getting tons of messages because of my music about who it's helping, and I was like, man, if I can get into treatment centers or anything like that. So we get into rehabs, jails, prison. We headline sober festivals around the country.
Nice.
Um,
So have you ever did Icky Pie?
I've never heard of Vicky Pie.
So ICIPA is the international. It's a international conference for alcoholics
Uh-huh.
anonymous all over
Yeah,
the
yeah.
world. So they come from all over the world, man. I went
Okay.
to so I went to this when I was fresh out of treatment.
Yeah.
I was on the grind hard. You know what I mean? In the gym all the time. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
let's go. We're sober, sober, sober. So we go to this thing. My dude was like, yeah, ICIPA. So it was in Chicago at the Hilton. So we go to
Okay.
the Hilton, and it was right after like the air show with the jets, fighter jets, and all that, right? So
Yeah.
the Blue Angels flew over the top floor at the Hilton.
That's dope.
It was pretty dope, man. But it was like all night music. Uh, it was basically like a sober rave. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like they had all the ballrooms full. They had a lot of
That's dope.
performers, coming
Yeah.
in, and they had a lot of workshops and everything. So it was like 24 hours for 3 days. And these
Okay.
people come from all over the world, man. So they're from Australia, Germany,
That's dope. That's dope.
and I was like, this is crazy. So instead of like doing beer bongs, they're doing like energy
Yep.
drinks. You know what I'm saying? And they're up
Yeah.
just like I was like, man, y'all tripping sober.
That's
The
crazy.
energy was crazy. So that's something that you might want to check out.
I'm gonna
Um,
I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to. I know we just did
get on that
Soberfest
venue.
last year in Houston, Texas. I think
Okay.
there was like 800 people. It wasn't as big, but it was still a really big show. It was nice, 800 people.
Oh, that's
We
nice.
got a
Yeah.
chance to do that. I know I'm performing at a convention today, or not today, but this year on tour. A
Okay.
little bit later today, I'm going to be on a call about Sober Southwest, which is like Southwest.
Arizona.
What's the Southwest tour? Or you know what I'm talking about?
Right. Right. Yeah.
South by Southwest. Okay, so
Okay.
it's that, but it's their sober version, and that's in Houston, Texas, with Party Sober. So I got a call with them a little bit later today. But no, like the first year of tour, man, like I literally we just picked cities and states we wanted to go to. We
Any
did.
thoughts of coming to Wisconsin?
I did a show in Wisconsin the first year. The
Okay.
first year.
Okay. When you get back,
We,
man, just know, brother,
yep.
you got somebody here that supports you. You know what I'm
Thank
saying?
you, man.
Same here.
I
So
appreciate that.
yeah, now that we linked
I
up, when
appreciate
you come to
that.
Wisconsin, you good. So
Yep, yep. No, I'll
definitely.
have to keep that in mind. No, we did a show in Wisconsin the first year. Like the first year, I literally called 2 to 3,000 treatment centers, made thousands of
Wow.
calls, and I got 28 yeses. And that's where we began. Me and my lady, we jumped in the van, we bought a tour van, we built it out, and we traveled the country. And that's what we did. We travel, we have our music equipment, we set everything up, tear down, we sound check, no DJ. Like we handle absolutely
Man, just going in
everything.
everything, man. That's
Everything,
hey,
bro, because, like,
that's a
here's the
good
thing,
thing
though,
and a
is, like
bad thing, you know?
no, it's a nice thing, it's a nice thing. I mean, the obvious is we keep all the money and we're in control of everything,
Right.
but the great thing about that is, we don't have to, like, worry about someone else that when there's other personalities. I can't trust people. Like I'm building these intimate relationships. They're
Right.
letting us into their centers in front of their clients. People are vulnerable.
Yeah.
And this isn't something people do. So this is like first of its kind, like music tours throughout rehabs in the US. Like every
Right.
center I went to, no one's ever heard of anything like this. I know people have done shows at treatment centers or jails or prisons, but literally a whole tour based about it. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
so, like,
we
we
gonna
just don't.
talk. We're gonna talk more because I
Yeah,
got like you come to Wisconsin, man. So like, because I had the opportunity to go back because I do the public speaking, so I got to go
okay,
back to the treatment center that actually saved me and helped me
yeah,
when it finally sunk in. You know what I mean? I reached out to them. I did the same thing you did, man. I called so many treatment places and was like, "Yo, I want to come share my story. I need to come in and do and share what it is that I'm doing."
yeah,
And out of a couple hundred, you know what I mean? I got like 10, you know what I mean?
yep.
So it was like it's hard to get into treatment centers,
It's hard. It's very
because
hard.
like you
Like
said,
I
people are
said,
vulnerable,
out of thousands of calls, I got 28 yeses. And the crazy thing about it, the first tour, we had one $3,000 sponsorship. And I would say about 80% of those shows, if not a little bit more, were completely free. So we were doing all these shows. We were spending we probably spent 20, 30,000, probably
right?
easily, right? Of our own money heading out on tour and doing traveling across the country, heading the Midwest. The first year we did like we went out to Chicago, Detroit, we did like South Dakota, North Dakota, Wisconsin. We did we were in Milwaukee, 4D
Okay,
in
yep, yep,
Milwaukee. That's where we're at in Wisconsin.
okay,
But like we went all over the country and most of those shows were for free. So it's like we'd blow 1,000, 1,500 on a trip to hit 3 centers and perform for free. And then the next year, I would say about 50 to 60% of the shows were paid because we started
right.
building up our resume. We had
That's right,
references, newspapers were doing stories on us, blogs, all these different things. So it was like, this is what we did. This is our second year. And
man.
then like last year, like we still do like free shows every once in a while because the whole point is about the message. And if we're on the way or it's like only 30 minutes out the way from where we're at, like we'll stop in and do a free show if like they have absolutely no budget. Like don't, because we do have some sponsorships that have been plugging in, so we have been able to cover the cost of shows that don't pay. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? But
right,
now it's like, and then like everything on schedule this year is a paid gig. And it's crazy because like it starts off like somebody might have 500 and now it's like now we're getting paid thousands per show, and it's just like
right,
you build it up and it's like, people are flying us out. I'm also getting speaking gigs, getting paid a couple thousand to speak for 10 minutes. Like, you know
right.
what I'm saying?
See,
Like flying me and my lady both
and that's
out
where I know
hotels.
exactly
Like,
what you're saying because it's
it,
not,
it,
it's like me, like right now starting out doing the public speaking and stuff,
yeah,
man. I do a couple, it was crazy because I just spoke like last week, you know what I mean, on the
that's dope.
6th. So I had to go do a speaking engagement for one of my other guys that is part of the recovery community, and I
Yeah.
met him through Matt actually. And
Okay.
so I got to go out there and speak. Man, he paid me in food. You know what I'm saying, with a
That's
gas
dope. That's
card. So
dope.
I mean, it was cool. I was like, hey,
Yeah,
I was like, but you know what? Eventually, it's gonna start building that
it
momentum.
will. It
You
will.
know that
It
I
will
can
start leading to it.
travel and be able to get paid doing this. You know, because this is a passion and what we want to do.
If
You
you're gonna
know,
be
and
doing it long term, like invest in yourself. And that's the thing, if you're not gonna invest in yourself, or you know what I'm saying, why should someone else invest in you? Like, you know
right,
what I'm saying? Like, how much you invested? Oh, zero. Okay, well here's $10,000. Like that's crazy. Like, you won't invest in yourself. And that's why, like, the first tour, most of the shows were free. Over
right.
three-fourths of the shows were free because we had to build that resume. We had to start being known. So then when I started calling around next year, and like I would say, like, all the shows this year, like, you know what I'm saying? Not all of them, but most of them
Hmm.
are like to second, third year or word of mouth booking.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not even calling centers. Like, centers are reaching out to me. When are you doing the tour? We want you again. And I'm thinking this is crazy because I've been at your center every year. This will be the fourth year. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like, they're
Right.
like, we got to get you in. Are you in? Are you coming? And
Well,
it's
so
like,
do you think that that's part of where that fear, like a little bit of the fear, comes from? Not wanting to ask. You know what I mean?
um,
Like I think I tell
I think
people, man,
so.
you gotta ask. Because if you don't
I think
ask,
so, but honestly, like when it comes to like booking and doing shows and doing that, I definitely advocate for myself. I've always advocated myself. I think a fear of reaching out to other artists or things like that. That's what I more have a fear because I'm being more judged by my following in my craft.
mhm,
But when it comes to like booking shows, like I'm all for it. I'm not afraid. Like I let people know straight up, this is what we charge, but I'm willing to work with your budget, whatever you guys got, your funds.
right,
It's about the message. Let's make it happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me know what's reasonable. We'll see what we can do or fit in.
mhm.
So like I've always been, a firm believer. If you don't ask, the answer is no. So when it
That's
comes
the
to
worst
like
they could say is no.
myself, yeah, when it comes to advocating for myself or getting shows, like that is not a problem. I am not. I'm actually a honey badger. I'm sure so many people get annoyed because you tell me to follow up Wednesday at 1 o'clock. I'm on you. Like, what's up?
You're gonna be
Like,
on
I'm
it.
texting
Yo,
you in the morning. Like, hey, I'm excited to talk to you later. You know what I'm saying? 1 o'clock
yep.
comes. Like, I'm calling you. So I'm sure people get annoyed, but like that's the way I've always been because
It's
I
part of the
know
it's
the
part of the
product.
game, man. That's
Yeah,
what you
the
got to
product
do.
that I'm bringing, and what I mean is the show that I bring, I know the product is gold. I know it's gold. I know I'm authentic. I know I really show up. If you invest in me or tell me to be a place and I agree, like I will 100% be there. I will be on time. Matter of fact, I will be early. I will be professional. I know I can do a whole show that's inspiring, deep, impacting without cussing. I know I can do all these things. So it's like I know I deliver. So I'm not afraid to ask. And especially since like this is our fourth year of doing this. Like, you
Right.
know what I'm saying? Like I can give you hundreds of references. Like who you want? You want somebody in your city, your state? Like I call somebody. Here's blogs. Here's this. Like
So
you
tell me,
know.
who are some of the artists you had the opportunity to work with?
I've worked with Bizarre from D12. We got a
Okay.
song, got a music video together. My buddy Mike Bars from Portland, he's pretty popular. He's more popular than I am. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Successful. Worked with him. Also worked with Rapping Forte a couple times. We
Okay.
actually got a song that's going to be on his new documentary. That finished up. They're getting ready. They're like pitching it. They pitched it like Netflix wanted to buy it, but then a couple other places. So I think they're doing a joint deal with everybody.
Right.
But we have a song coming out on that. Me and my buddy King Handsome with Forte also got something lined up for the documentary. That's with my buddy DL Downer. He had that massive viral hit, Sugar Boom Boom, that took off, got
Oh,
hundreds of
okay.
millions
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
plays.
Yeah.
Kalichi, you know what I'm saying? We
Yep.
got that. Who else have I worked with? That might be it for like bigger names. I mean, I worked with like
Okay.
Matt Keegan and stuff like that, who's doing his thing. But I stopped investing in bigger features.
Hmm.
Just because if it didn't align with like my values, or I didn't really
Right.
feel like it added to it, because if the audience was so different, you know
Right.
what I'm saying? I don't think it was a good investment. And also, like, a lot of times when you try to reach out bigger artists, it's just a quick buck for them. So if there ain't like a vibe, like I have no problem paying for something, but I want to make sure I'm just not like a quick trick who's gonna toss you something. You just about to just
Right. You want to
say
make your
whatever on it,
impact and get your message across. You know what I'm saying?
So,
And your message
I'm
is
a lot more
powerful and
picky,
goes
man.
deeper.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm a lot more picky with who I work with, and that's
Ain't nothing
important to
wrong
me.
with
Like,
that.
I'm not gonna get, oh, I got a song coming out with Futuristic,
Nice.
things like that. But it's like, we booked him for part of my tour last year. It was actually through 4D. They were doing their big 4D is one of our tour sponsors. They're amazing. They're
Okay.
expanding out throughout the country. They're doing their thing. 4D Recovery, I absolutely love them, but they're doing their annual what is it, Recover Out Loud, which is part of our Road to Recovery tour, right? It's one of the
Okay.
shows we do every year. But we booked Futuristic for it last year. Then we started talking. Now we got a song coming out, because he's going through his phase of like recovery and God, and now
Right.
he's in recovery. So we actually booked him for his very first recovery show ever.
So
So
who came up with the road to recovery? How did that start? Like, how did you come
um
up with that?
I don't remember if it was me or my lady. It was one of us. We're always shooting ideas while we're in the print shop, slaving away.
Gotta love it. That's right. That's right.
So it was one of us, but I think it was basically, you know, some that I felt like aligned with what we are doing and with the message, because it's
Hmm.
my road to recovery. This is my, like, I don't do meetings, I don't do step work, I don't do big book. I recommend it because I know it works. But like
Right.
this is my road to recovery. My recovery in my service work is going around to these centers, hearing their messages, sharing my messages. So I think that's kind of where we came up with it at that point, is the road to recovery tour.
I love that, man. And it's big that you said that because, a lot of times, through the recovery journey, people are like, oh, you don't go to, you're not authentic because you're not going to these meetings, you're not doing this. But you know what? One thing I learned is being a
Yeah.
Wisconsin State certified peer support specialist
Yeah.
is you got to meet people where they're at. And that
Absolutely.
same path that worked for you isn't going to work for the next person.
That's the
It might
thing.
even just make things worse. You
Absolutely.
send them
Not
off
every
and
not It's not all one fits program that works for everybody. You got to figure out who you are and what makes you tick as a person. I had a sales job and I ended up managing a bunch of people. I had multiple teams. I was like 23 years old, on salaries, like the first time I really got clean. And that's where all the drinking started, right at the office.
right.
And then, relationship problems and get on Coke, and then Coke's too expensive. Then I get on meth. But
Yep.
at this sales job, I really learned, you got to figure out. I got great results. I got great results of being a manager, um, and driving my team to getting results, is because you got to figure out what makes people tick.
Right.
And you got to figure out what motivates them, what gets them going. You can't just be, on their heads talking about this. You got to produce, you got to do this. Like, ain't no one trying to hear that. I know we all here clocked in trying to get a dollar.
Hmm.
But there's jobs that, like, you know, people aren't on your head like that. So you got to make sure you're worker friendly, everything like that. So I've kind of carried that mentality over to myself
Okay.
in my recovery. Like, you know what I'm saying? I want to be in recovery. I have 6 years clean as of December 6th of last year. And it's like, I gotta figure out what works for me. I'm not everybody else. I don't like meetings. That's always been a punishment. On probation for most of my
Right,
20s.
it's always court ordered. Yeah,
It's
court
court
order,
ordered.
court order.
So
I
it's
think,
like,
and bro, that's big because I think that makes a lot of sense
it
because
does.
I didn't go because I was always court ordered. Like I would
Yeah.
go in there and the counselor's
If I
like,
didn't go to a meeting, I was going to jail. So I damn
exactly.
sure ain't going to a meeting on my own.
Oh,
You know what
exactly. You get
I'm saying?
out, you're like, yo, I'm glad this is over with, because
Yeah.
I mean, when I was on paper, I think I smoked hella green when I was on paper, right? And when I got off paper, bro, I haven't smoked in like over 15 years. You know what I'm
Congratulations.
saying? And it's like it's crazy because everybody around me does. Most people that I run into do. And it's
Yeah.
like they were like, "Dude, you used to smoke hella weed." And I was like, "Yeah, but that's because they was telling me I couldn't."
Yeah,
They kept
yeah,
telling me,
yeah.
I was trying to beat the system. You know what I'm saying? Like, how can I beat the
Absolutely.
system? And now
Yeah.
I'm just like all the way in, like, yo, that's just not what I do. You know what I mean? I choose not to. I like to be clear headed. You know what I mean? I like to think about what I'm gonna do. And then when it comes to like the meetings,
Mm.
now that I'm off paper, I got good people around me,
Yeah,
everything
good
like
support
that.
system.
I'm like, yo, I don't want to go to no meeting, man. I'm not gonna go sit there. But you know what I do? I
Uh,
go and I meet people. I
okay.
network. So that's
Yeah.
kind of how I met Matt Traver. I went to the overdose awareness and
Yeah.
I just he happened to be there speaking, and then we kind of linked up, and then we just didn't talk for a while. But then all of a sudden now, I get a call from him all the time, like, "Hey man, I'm doing a panel. You want to be on it?" You know
That's
what I'm
dope.
saying? It's like, yeah, that's dope, man. Let's do that.
Yeah.
And a lot of times our time don't don't permit us to. But with you, it's music. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and
It's
that's
being
how I
able to
get
do
my
this
service, man.
tour.
I do all types of stuff, like, like you said, I've been questioned a few times, like, he's not really in recovery. He's not really. How come we don't see him at meetings? How come he ain't doing this? Or like, you need fellowship, or what service work are you doing to truly be in recovery? And sometimes I get down on myself, and I find myself trying to prove myself. Like there was a few
Hmm.
times I've had a few people call me out, and I'm like, yeah, 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 and I go to a meeting, and I'm like, this is lame. You know what I'm saying?
This
And
ain't what
like
it
my
is.
lady's like, why are you trying to prove yourself? Like you don't like you do service work. Like all the centers that you do, you're constantly at centers. You do free shows sometimes. Like you go give free speeches at the local centers. You do this. We do all types of, we donate, we help the
What's your
homeless all
merchandise looking
the time.
like? So you said the
Like
print shop.
we've done free shows on Christmas underneath the bridge for the homeless. Like, you know
Wow.
what I'm saying? Like we donate so many clothes of our own merch that's out of our own pocket, right?
Hmm.
Um, to the homeless shelters, to the tiny homes, like we do through our little dreamers. We've done donated for Christmas for a few years. We would provide kids that lost their parents to incarceration or overdoses, and we would go make sure they would have Christmas. Like I would put all my merch sales, dedicate like 100% of my funding that I would make for like a month and a half, and we'd go out there and we'd spend thousands of dollars. Like, you know what I'm
I
saying?
love
This
that.
kid lost his dad to a drug overdose, like, and like I would buy presents, show up, all that stuff. I'd spend the night before wrapping them all, doing all these things. And I would show up to the doorstep, 20, 30 presents, go do this, make sure these, and that's things that we're doing out of our own will. Like
Man,
we're
that's
not
time
partnering
in
with
time
nobody. We're
invested.
not, you know what I'm saying? These are our own resources. I'm literally taking
Right.
all this money out of my pocket, merch sales, like we were throwing like fundraiser shows, all these different things. So it's like, I do a lot of service work, but I catch
Right.
myself trying to prove myself to somebody, question me why they don't see
Right.
me at meetings. And then I find myself going to meetings and then being irritated, not at the meeting, but because I don't feel good about myself because I'm trying to validate or seek approval. And
Well,
it's
that's because
like,
that's
I
those
need to,
social norms. You know,
yeah,
they
it's
want you to
crazy,
fit
bro.
in with what everybody else is doing. But the biggest thing that me and my lady talk about and teach our kids all the time is that your time is more valuable than money. You know what I mean? So it's
Yes.
not the fact that you go to work every day and put in all these hours or whatever it is you're doing,
Yeah.
you grinding, grinding, grinding. You know what I mean? It's the time that you put into that because that's time you can't get back.
The time you can't get
The
back. And
money,
that's
the
what
money you
we
can
always
make
look at
back.
it. My lady's been saying for years, like trading hours for this or you're trading hours for that. And I never looked at it because I always like, yeah, yeah, I'll go do that. I'll go do this, and
Hmm.
I had to start smarting up because I was doing too much free stuff for people that like I know can pay or different things like that.
Right.
Or they just think, oh, that's the homeboy. He'll pop in and do it for free. And so I'm like,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, I got you. And it's like, okay, well, now we just dedicated this time. We did that. Also, on the road to recovery tour, when we stop in a center, we provide every single client free albums, signed albums, free tour shirts, free posters, signed posters, wristbands, stickers. So we probably blow like $10,000 every single tour out of our own money just on giveaways.
Right.
You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Just because like we want to show up to a center, and if someone's feeling it, not only like market it in a course, you know what I'm saying? Like put
Hmm.
sponsors on things like that, but also it's like, they know where to find us, they know where to reach out when they get out. But on top of that, like if they felt inspired, I get so many messages like, yo, everybody's like hanging your posters up in their dorms above their beds. People are listening to your albums now. They creating like group meetings where they listen to my music for an hour. Like, you know what I'm saying? Things like
Right.
that. But it's like we do a lot to give back, and man, I just have to remind myself sometimes that like, like you said, every program is different. I don't have to be in meetings, and I think it's important because like music is my recovery, it's my
Right.
therapy. I got me a good support team. I got my lady, I got some few close friends in my inner circle. My inner circle is small as shit, you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
But it's like
Exactly.
that's my team, and like I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm doing good. I'm
That's what's
thriving.
up.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what's up. And I'm glad you said it because, like, you got to keep a tight circle. You know what I mean? Because we
Tight,
learned
tight,
that,
tight.
as addicts and everything else, we're trying to be everybody's friend. We're trying to be
Yep,
cool with everybody. And that's how you open up that door for deceit. You get that for envy and,
yep,
all types of jealousy and things like that. And people don't want to see you make it.
yeah,
And, like I said, with the community that we're building, now, honestly, it started through Sway in the morning.
Yeah.
Like I just happened to call into the show to push my podcast ahead, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna call into the show and I'm gonna represent the Real Chat podcast. And the next thing you know, it, Tracy G and Heather B's like, yo, reach out to this dude. And I reached out to him, and
Yeah.
he brought me into this community where this is just a bunch of people that I've never even met. Like I got a guy out there in Detroit. I got people that are in Portland. I got people in California, and we
Yeah.
get out. We talk every day and
That's
wake
dope.
up. I
That's
get
dope.
off work third shift, so 7 in the morning. I got like 10 messages coming through, and they're like, "Yo, what's up? Good morning, brothers. You know what I'm saying? This is what's
Yeah.
going on in my life," and we never even met each other in person yet.
That's
You
dope.
know,
That's dope.
and it's just like it's crazy. And I try to make sure that I cultivate those relationships. I make
Yeah.
sure that I get on there and I'm hands on, like, hey man, uh yo, I heard that you having this problem, your sister, blah 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 blah, like how's she doing today, you know what I
Absolutely.
mean? And they're
Yeah.
just like,
You gotta
man,
you gotta
damn,
have your
nobody.
support team, man. You gotta have your network. It's very valuable to be able to keep you pushing, bro. My team is full of go getters, bro. I need people to work harder than me in my circle to be
Correct.
qualified. I want to feel like the laziest one. I want to feel like the dumbest one, right?
i'm not
Because
i'm
like
not
they
doing
always
I'm not
say,
doing enough.
you know what I'm saying? That's what it needs to be because I don't want to carry all the weight. This life is too hard for me to carry all the weight. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
And
right.
so it's like, a wise man always said, if you win a circle and you're the smartest one in the circle, then you around the wrong group of people.
You need to move around. That's right. You need to move
You know?
around. Yeah, I tell my son that all the time, man. If you the smartest one in the room, you need to be in another room, man,
You need to be in another
because you
room, and
always
that's
got to be
the
learning,
thing. You have
always
to be, you have
growing.
to be, bro. Like my circle is full of go-getters. Like I need people working when I'm not working. When I don't have it in me and I'm crying and throwing a fit because like I'm tired, I'm exhausted, and I need a lazy day. I need my entire team to be grinding. And that's what go-getters, people that are little honey badgers, like that's what we
Right,
need because like I always tell my team and we always talk about it. All we need is one. We just need one
right.
person to blow up. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like
and it's taking a whole team, the whole team.
it don't matter who.
And
Yeah.
man, I'm glad you said that because it's I was part of this group, man. It's called Podcast AI, right? So they handle all the community stuff, and they
Yeah.
handle all the algorithms and all that stuff, right? But you pay this fee. But the thing about them is they offer like this. The one cat that I talked to, they're from Canada, right?
Yeah.
And this dude don't sleep. Like, bro, I could email him, bro, at 1 o'clock in the morning, two
He
o'clock.
right
I could
back.
email him at 8, and he's right back. He's like, "Yo, what's the problem?" He was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go in there right now. I'm gonna check it out. I got you, man. I'm
That's
gonna figure this
crazy.
out." And I'm like, "Dude," and he's always like, "Hey, you need to make more calls. You need to make more calls. You need to make more calls." And I'm like, "Dude,
Yeah.
like, put it this way. You know who Grant Cardone is, right?"
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So these cats learn from Grant Cardone. So they're
Okay.
like, bro, they're super hungry. So they're just
Yeah.
like, yeah, man, the more calls you make, the more calls you make. Got to show your face, put your face out there. And I'm
Have
like,
to.
damn, bro, like you don't sleep. I said, man, look, I got kids. I said, I can't be out here making calls, man, and then go to work third shift and then get up and get back on another call. Cause like I
Yeah.
work third shift, so I get off at 7 in the morning. These cats are on a business call by 8 in the morning, and then
Yeah.
they get off that call after an hour, and they're back on another call at 11 o'clock. And they're like, "You weren't in the meeting." I'm like, "Man, look, I was going to sleep." I said I couldn't be on that meeting, man.
Yeah.
So but it's
That's
like, how
crazy.
bad do you want it, man? And I see you out here grinding 100%. You know what I'm saying? You
Have
going
to.
100 miles an hour. You know what I mean? In a positive direction. That's definitely out here helping people, motivating people, inspiring
Thank you.
people. And man, I just, before we go ahead and get off this, I wanna ask you, man, what do you have today for the audience, man? Super motivational, super
Yeah.
inspiring. Something that comes straight from you.
Absolutely, man. And here's something I always live by. And this is very important to me because, everything that I've gotten or everything I've achieved, I've had to work my ass off for. I'm not the most talented music artist. Nothing was naturally given. No one showed me the ropes. No handouts. Like I've been helped in life, but like no handouts like that, right? And here's the thing. So I'm a firm believer, and you don't have to be the best, right? The best in the room. You just have to be willing to outwork the person next to you. And so what that means is like you don't have to be naturally talented because hard work beats talent every time talent don't work hard. So just remember that and just remember like don't be afraid to start something if you have dreams, if you have aspirations, make sure you go after it, right? We all start somewhere. Like I rapped for 18, 19 years before I could even rap on beat. You know what I'm saying? So
Man.
if that don't prove you something, if that don't show you something to where I'm at now, man, just remember, you don't have to be the best in the room. You just have to be willing to outwork the person next to you. Never
Hey,
give up.
y'all heard it,
Always
man.
grind.
Them dope gems. Dope
Yeah.
gems, man.
Thank you, man.
Brother, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day, man, to just chop it up with me on the Real Chat podcast. And we're going to definitely have a lot more time to chop it up and do plenty more episodes. So,
Yes,
for
sir.
all of you out there, man, it's my dude, Skyler Ray. And we appreciate you, brother. I salute you.